What's going on, YouTube? Average Duelist here. I kind of want to do an introduction to my channel, and what better way to do so by doing your own deck profile. And yeah, so I managed to make top 8 at this past weekend's Houston Regionals. Playing Paleozoic Frogs. I got 8th place. Playing a pretty cool deck. I like it a lot. Been playing for about a month now. And my friends Michael Temez and Tony Tran kind of like persuaded me to play it, and yeah, so let's get into it. So I played 3 swaps. It's swap. Then we have 3 dupes. Yeah, it's Ronin Totem. Yeah, nothing to say about these guys. They're pretty much the fairly standard engine. The 8 frogs. That's the best way to run the deck. Then 2 Mexi. It's a high utility card. It's level 2. Further extend your plays in games scenarios where you need a level 2. You can just normal summon this guy. And against metal foes, it kind of like makes them play in an awkward scenario where they either make a board or not do anything. So then you just set up your traps, and then when on their turn they try to do something, you just strike them. So yeah, Mexi's really good. It's a really good defensive and offensive card. So doubles, serves 2 purposes, or 2 roles, I'm sorry, in this deck. And for spells, 3 desires, fairly standard. Yeah, it's body green. And for traps, 2 Pakaya. This is the 2 O's, by the way. 2 Leech and Nala, whatever its name is. And 2 of this. Okay, so the night before the event, I was gonna play 3 of these. I felt like 3 was really good because in the mirror you want to be able to dump. First one to dump as many names as possible, and Morella just kind of like allowed you to do so just as a 1 card. Foolish to have 2 in graveyard, but it's a -1. Bakaya serves the same role. However, you just need to hard draw 2 names, but it allows you to see more options because you break even as opposed to being a -1. But in that break even game state, because you kind of have the same amount of cards, but you get 2 names engraved and you see more options. So this is more of a +1, and this is better to see in almost every other matchup aside from the mirror. But having both of these in the mirror just means you're going to be really far ahead. So that's the reason why I play it too. In any other matchup besides the mirror, that's really good. So, and it extends your plays on your turn when you're going on the offensive. You can just activate this, draw 2, see more options, and summon a guy. Lincholia, whatever its name is, extends your plays. There's a lot of times where you activate desires and you have to summon a guy, have to summon a swap frog to dump Ronin Totem, but this allows you to just you can just search it off a little Bobinia and just freely activate desires and just not care. Extends your plays. It's really good, and there's a lot of game state scenarios where I had this in hand and I had a few cards left in 12, 13 cards left in deck, and I go desires in hopes of banishing my last Ronin Totem, and Leech and Nala, targeting Ronin Totem banished, and, summoning back guy, then using Ronin Totem's effect to summon itself back and combo off and more. That came up in my round 6 or 7 against a Magic Spectre guy. So yeah, this was really good. 2 is really good. You kind of just don't when you play 1, you have to play really smart because you can't just freely activate it anytime you want. But when you play 2, you can freely dump one with Pakaya or do a lot of cool plays with it. This card's really useful. It's a high utility card, and it works really well with obviously the 3 desires and 2 Ronin Totems. So having 2 is just really niche. It extends your plays even more and allows you to outpace the mirror. For the 3 ofs, 3 Canadia, 3 Leonidas, 3 Dynamiscus. This one's really good. Obviously, all these are really good. However, I just feel like this one is not as good as the others because every Paleozoic trap, barring Pakaya, is a -1. But Dynamiscus is just one of those cards where it's a really powerful card, but it's one of those cards where you don't want to have to activate. You know what I'm saying? Because you'd rather see these or use these, barring these. But the only time you ever want to use these is when you're on the offensive or defensive, and it's just it's a dire situation where you just have to activate this. But this card's really good. I acknowledge the power, but it's just I just don't really like it that much because the discard actually just unless you go Toad negate, add back guy to then ditch, I don't know. I just don't like this card that much. But it's good. It acts like 3 extra, you know, MSTs, I suppose, in certain scenarios. So it is what it is. For next part, the 3 ofs, 3 Reckless Greed. This card's really good. It's probably, I don't know, dude. This card's really good. It's basically pot of greed in this deck. It gets you two turns ahead of your opponent, barring the mirror. It triggers guys. It triggers guys in graveyard. Allows you to see more options, and it's a really good trap card. Like, yeah, this card's insane. If Pot of Greed was out, I would probably just run this over it. Obviously, like, this card it's a trap. You know what it is. 3 strikes. Nothing to say about this. This is really good. I don't play Warning in the main because I think Warning is really not. I don't want to say it's bad, but it's bad going second. And this card's just infinitely better when you lose the die roll and you're forced to go second. Obviously, you'd rather see this over a copy of Warning any day. So this card's really good. So yeah, and then I played 3 strikes. I wanted to maximize cards on going second because you can't control the die roll, but you can, if you were to win, you can control whether you go first or not. And in a format where everyone wants to go first, you want to be able to maximize on defensive cards to clear their board to ensure your follow-up. So I thought Triple Storming was better to deal with the board and trigger and reactively summon one of your guys, as opposed to Waboku, where you can use it proactively and reactively, but it doesn't actually deal with the deck's problems itself, because the deck just has an inherent problem not being able to beat over monsters with 2400 attack, because the biggest guy in the extra deck, barring Cat Shark, is Anamawaka Karis or whatever, the 2400 Regeki Break. So Storming allows you to play second, and Strike also. So any combination, basically, yeah, any combination of like a Storming, basically just these 2 cards allow you to play second against a Toad board. So yeah, I wanted to maximize on cards that do that. And Waboku, Strike and Waboku don't do that for you. So yeah. Oh, and these were so hard to find in Secret Rare before the event. Oh my goodness. Then I played 1 Secret. I'm sorry, 1 Compulse. I don't know how I said that. Yeah, it's really good. Especially against Metaphos when you just bounce back the Three-Lane guy. Oh, also another thing, this was also for Metaphos, because in testing I had a hard matchup against Metaphos, so I wanted to maximize on cards that like just destroy it, and I ended up playing like 3-4 Metaphos that day, so it was a really good call. Compulse, generically good card, proactively trigger your guys, so it's really good. Breakthrough Skill, this came in handy a lot, especially against Dark Lords in my round 2, so yeah, Breakthrough Skill is really good. 2 D-Barriers. Yeah, it's just D-Bear. It's a generically good card. It allows you to proactively trigger your guys on your turn, which is, it is a minus, but these do sit dead a lot because you have like a lot of more defensive and reactive cards that are just like better in certain scenarios. But this is also really good. But the primary reason why I didn't run a 3rd copy is it's kind of like Warning in the main deck, where Warning into established board is really bad, and D-Bear is essentially the same thing unless you're playing against Metaphos. But yeah, this card just doesn't solve the deck's issues, so I thought, like, you know, D-Bear just isn't needed in 3rds, and I just never missed it. Like, whenever I was playing a 3rd, I always managed to draw like multiples of this, and I just never wanted to do that. I wanted to limit that as much as possible, and playing 2 is the perfect number. I saw it enough to where it impacted the game, but not to the point where, oh my god, you know, like, I didn't need to rely on this card as much, and I wanted to draw more reactive cards that, you know, serve better roles than D-Bear. So that was it. And I believe the main deck is 41 cards. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. It is 41. It should be 41. Anyways, my set deck is 3 Lava Golems. Yeah, it's a really good card. The reason why I opted to play 3 was I did want to see multiples in my opening hand against certain matchups, so that's why the reason why I wanted to max out on this as much as possible, and I wanted to see this because against Toad boards, the only way you can win, as I aforementioned, was Strike in the Mirror Force, and in games 2 and 3, when you play against a Toad board, against Mass Heroes or whatever, You want to be able to just sack off the guy and just not have to worry about, oh, like, next turn they're going to make guy again. But this kind of just mediates the issue and allows you just like, oh, now all I have to deal with is just lava golem, and you're playing 3 storming, so you can just bounce it back to your hand. That scenario came up actually, where I actually tribute off their guy and they attacked with it and I storming it, and then my turn I just tribute over their guys again, like 2 or more of their other guys after they made board from main phase 2. Those guys are really good for those niche situations. I wouldn't cut it at all. I like it. The next Regeki. I didn't play Dark Hole because you can't afford to have cards negated against the hero deck because they're just gonna set it unless you're strike. They're gonna use it. They're gonna negate it, and that takes 2 cards to clear a board as opposed to just 1 copy of a card that just clears the entire majority of the threats. 2 twin. Nothing to really say about this. It's just Twin Twister. It's generically good. So, yeah. T-System down. I didn't want to play additional copies of this because I felt like the ABC matchup was like fairly easy. And I didn't want to overcommit to sideboard, more cards to a matchup that was relatively easy. And I wanted to focus more on the Metaphors matchup because, like I said, the Metaphors matchup is really difficult. So, yeah. Then a side deck warning. When you go first, and like I mentioned prior, I'm not playing the 3rd copy of Morella, obviously, because I cut it last minute. So I decided to play. I wanted like more cards going first to out Deiko Seka, and so yeah. So the warning was really good. I think I'm not entirely too sure if I drew this or not, but yeah. And you guys are probably gonna roast me, but these aren't top loaders because I already sold these. But 3 Reapers. This was really good. I'll show you my cherries targets in a second, but this is really good primarily for the mirror match because a lot of players don't play around hand traps, so you want to be able to just have cards that completely blow out the mirror. And once you take out their Toad and Anamala cars, the deck's just dead. Like, it's pretty much it. They have they can maybe OTK you, but at that point in time, you're just so far ahead. And this card just impacts the game state like that much more. So it's really good. I like this card a lot. And last 3 cards in the side side deck was 3 anti-spells. I did sell these as well. I did sell anti-spells. Yeah, it was anti-spells. Really good. On paper, it's really good. I never drew it personally, so I can't really say much about it. So yeah, obviously 15 side. I guess I'll start off with the cherries targets. Dark Law, Blue Eyes, Spear Dragon, and I played a Buster, so I'll just leave this here. Buster for obvious reasons. So yeah. Dark Law, you obviously played Toad Turbo, so there's no reason you play Toad Turbo, so that's 1 target, and then you have Dark Law here. Like Dark Law, once you cherries the Toad on your turn, when you start to do it, try to do a search card or something like that, you can just cherries their Dark Law as well. Like that came up once in my round 5 or 6. I cherries him for Dark Law and Toad game 2, and he just couldn't do anything. So yeah. Then Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. People don't realize that Blue Eyes is actually just a really hard matchup because this is better Kieran. This is just basically a better Kieran because it has 2 disruptions where it negates a graveyard effect and it tags out. So there's 2 negations, and this card is just really strong. And Break the Skill actually helped me play past this, so it was really good. The cherries target. I never drew cherries against this, but I played 1 Blue Eyes. It was the final round of Swiss. But yeah, I just never saw the cherries for this. But yeah, it's really good in testing though. I tested against one of my teammates, and I cherries them for this, and the game was just over. At that point in time, they just have a Sage and a Blue Eyes alternative or whatever the level 8 is, and it just sits there. If they don't play Vermilion, which I don't understand, why they would make it first turn. Yeah, they kind of lose. A majority of their extra deck is dead. I apologize for the coughing. I'm kind of sick. Tila Bina. I'll explain why I played 2 in a second. to onomatopoeia. I don't really. Yeah, it's a name. Yeah. And Catchart, Phoenix, Crumble Logos. This didn't come up. Actually, no, I take that back. This came up against a Dark Lord player. So, yeah. Sky Cavalry. That was a cool play, round 9, where I made Opabinia, then bounce back my Lava Golem to sack off his, like, 2 other monsters. So that was really good. Because he made a Soul Charge board of Crystal Wing, a special summon Blue Eye Spirit Dragon from the graveyard so it can't tag out, and a Lancelot. So I sacked off the 2 extra monsters. Then I Book of Moon, one of his guys, and Book of Moon, an alternative dragon to stop him from making a second Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. Then on my turn, I made a Opabinia this, bounced back the Lava Golem, sacked off his 2 guys, and the game was just over. So it was really good. Typical Future, and once again, I did sell these, so, you know, no rose. 3 totally awesome. This card is just the heart and soul of the deck. Like, it gets the engine going, it is the engine, you know. Sorry, Opabinia, but yeah, this card's really good. So the reason why I played 2 of these and 2 of these, alright, let's talk about it. A lot of players, you think you need 3, but if you can read the strike, you can just make this in any scenario where this is good, or this is good. This is just as good because it also applies the same amount of pressure, if not more, because you have a walking negation, a walking loggy, I suppose, under an apple, and yeah, it's just, and it summons a guy too, and the guy just becomes chum block. But once you kind of like just grind him out of the game, you just make up a Beania and just go for game from there. So yeah. It's just like, if you manage your resources, you'll never need a 3rd one of this, and it just never came up for me. Like, there's a lot of scenarios where I read the strike and I just didn't want to make a Toad because my Toad wouldn't get any value as well, because I just didn't have my engine going anyway. So I just made this, I got strike, and then like I just made, you know, another one later on. But yeah, 3rd one never came up. This was really good. 2 came up a lot for me. If you guys don't know, this guy's a Regeki Break during outplay's turn as long as you have a trap under it. And if you use a trap, if a trap goes from your field to the graveyard, you can excavate the top card of your deck. If it's a trap, add it to your hand, otherwise send it to your graveyard. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. For shoutouts, I'd like to give a huge shout out to everyone I tested with, Ethan Nash, Tony Tran especially, and yeah, shoutouts to all you guys, shoutouts to everybody for supporting me, and yeah.